Dear students, in the last session we discussed the poem Civilian and Soldier written by Wole Soyinka. In this session, let us learn something more about that particular poem. Let us revise what we learnt about this poem in the previous session. We learnt in the previous session that this poem, Civilian and Soldier, is an anti-war poem. It opposes war. And the poet is against war and civil wars. And we also learnt that soldiers just execute the orders of his higher ups. But the civilian reasons, he thinks. And the poem is a dramatic lyric. These are the things that we learnt in the previous session. Now let us see the two sides of this poem. The poem has two sides. The civilian who has recently been shot to death is speaking as a ghost to the man who shot him. The word aphorism supports this. The civilian speaks to the soldier. That is the situation presented in this poem. The word aphorism tells us that this is not a real encounter, but it is an encounter between the aphorisms. It can also be seen as a surrealistic poem. Surrealistic is an imaginary one, which is not a real one. Surrealistic confrontation between the soldier and the civilian. So this meeting between the soldier and the civilian reminds another poem that we studied, Strain Meeting by Wilfred Owen. It is also a war poem where he talks about the two soldiers who killed each other in the battlefield and met in another world. So this poem or this situation reminds us of another poem titled Strain Meeting, written by Wilfred Owen. So the moral dilemma of the soldier is also presented in this poem. The poem explores the dilemma of a soldier trying to shoot a civilian. The soldier who is directed to kill the civilian is in a moral dilemma. That dilemma is very well explored in the poem. The civilian imagines the soldier's brutality. The civilian can very easily understand the brutality of the soldiers. And he can also understand the unwillingness to carry out the orders of his superiors and kill the civilian. The soldier is unwilling to carry out the orders of his superiors and he doesn't want to kill the civilian because there is a civilian in him. That is why he cannot carry out the orders of his superiors all of a sudden. That is understood by the civilian. He finds a civilian in the soldier. He understands that the soldier knows what he is supposed to do. The civilian understands that soldier is supposed to kill the civilians as per the directions of his higher ups and to maintain law and order in the land. But it is likely he has no idea why he should do it. The soldier knows what he must do, but he doesn't understand why he must kill the people, why he must kill the civilians. He cannot understand these things. He doesn't have any idea about it. His job is to carry out the orders of his higher ups. Or even he doesn't know what killing would accomplish. He doesn't know why he should kill the people, the innocent civilians, and what they would achieve or accomplish by killing the civilians. These are the two things which he cannot understand, and he doesn't have any idea about these two things. But he knows that he must kill the civilians as per the direction of his authorities. That is the moral dilemma that we find in a soldier. The civilian says, had he been in the soldier's position, he would have responded with kindness rather than killing. The civilian in a changed position says, had he been in the position of a soldier, he wouldn't have killed the civilians as per the direction of his officers. Instead of that, he would have responded with kindness rather than killing. He would have treated the civilians with kindness. He would have helped them, assisted them instead of killing. Further, he says, he would make his life better by feeding him. The civilian says, had he been the soldier, instead of killing the civilians, he would have made their life better by feeding the civilians, by giving the civilians many other good things that are required for them. He would have assisted the civilians. He reasons, he thinks very rationally, contemplates, thinks with the soldier. He reasons with the soldier. At the end of the poem, the civilian tries to educate the soldier. Do you, friend? He calls him as his friend and questions him, even now, even after all this. You have killed so many people, took part in the war, followed the words of your higher ups. Have you understood anything by all this? Know what it is all about? Have you ever understood what the war is all about? Even after your experience as a soldier so far. So he reasons, he puts a question to the soldier and makes him realize the pointlessness or futileness of war. So we find the shifting tones. The poem begins with the confused and questioning tone of the civilian speaker. In the very beginning of the poem, the civilian is confused. He is in a questioning and confusing tone. He tries to understand why his apparition has risen and why the soldier killed him in the first place. Some critics think that the entire poem does not happen in the real life. Both the soldiers and the civilian are already dead when the poem begins. So the two apparitions meet for the first time as apparitions. Even the second meeting is also the meeting of apparitions but in a changed position. That is another way of reading this poem. If we read the poem in the second angle, the two apparitions meet in the first encounter and the same apparitions meet in the second encounter in a changed position. Civilian becoming the soldier and soldier becoming the civilian in the second encounter. So the civilian tries to understand why his apparition has arisen and why the soldier killed him in the first place. The civilian cannot understand the reason why he was killed by the soldier. Then he moves to understand and accept the fact that soldiers are trained to kill without reasoning and questioning. The question comes to the civilian, why soldiers kill the civilians? Then he finds an answer. He understands the answer as we move further. Then the civilian accepts the fact that soldiers are trained to kill, so they kill the civilians. They do not reason. They are not trying to reason and question why they should kill the civilians. They are not trying to question and reason. They are only trying to kill the civilians or the enemies. That is understood by the civilian in the first encounter. So he sympathizes with the soldier's inner conflict whether to kill or not the innocent civilians without reasonable cause. So the civilian understands or sympathizes with the soldier's inner conflict. The soldier is has an inner conflict in him. His inner conflict is whether to kill the civilians or not, because he knows that the civilians are innocents. He should not kill without any reason, but he was asked to kill the civilians. And it is inevitable for him to carry out the orders of his officers. He is helpless, even though he doesn't want to kill the civilians, he has to kill the civilians. That is why the civilian who understands this fact sympathizes with the soldier's inner conflict. Besides this, the civilian sympathizes with the soldier's inner conflict of knowing that they have to kill, but not why and what it accomplishes. The civilian also sympathizes with the soldier's inner conflict because the soldier knows that he has to kill the civilians, but he doesn't know why he must kill the civilians and what does he accomplish or what does he achieve by killing the civilians. He doesn't know these two things. For that also the civilian sympathizes for the ignorance of the soldier. So the soldier does all these things as per the directions of his officers. The civilian, in an empathizing tone, begins to understand the soldier's moral dilemma in the poem. He is not angry with the soldier for killing him or for killing the civilians. He tries to understand the position of the soldier. He empathizes with him and he understands the moral dilemma the soldier is in. At last he reasons with the soldier that war is pointless. So he tries to make the soldier understand that war is pointless, useless. He reasons with him. He tries to educate him. So the poem makes it very clear. War victimizes. So victimization in war. The poet reflects the object realities of war in this poem. In war, at times of uncertainty, many cannot distinguish a friend from a foe. During wartime, it is a time of uncertainties. Many soldiers or many people cannot differentiate who is a friend and who is a foe. They cannot differentiate a friend and foe. Soldiers, as per the directions, go on killing the people who come on their way. They do not distinguish who is a friend and who is a foe. That is a sort of victimization. War victimizes each and everyone. It victimizes the enemies, it victimizes the civilians and innocents, children, young and old alike. The unarmed civilians are victimized for no reason. The poet feels very sorry because civilians are victimized for no reason, for no crime of theirs. Even the soldier is also a victim of social system that we live in. Even the soldier, even though he is given the gun to kill the civilians, he has been given the gun to kill the civilians in civil wars or in wars. He is also a victim in another way. He is the victim of social system that we live in. Even though he is not willing to kill the people, he is asked to kill the people. The social system has made him the killer, even though there is a civilian in his heart. So the poet sympathizes with him. The soldier sees only his gun. The only job of the soldier is to use the gun and see the gun. But at the end, the civilian hopes to him in touch, to be in touch with the things that affirm life. Towards the end of the poem, the civilian tries to make the soldier understand that instead of using the gun, he must be in touch with the things that affirm life. He should not kill the people. Nobody must try to kill the life or human beings. He must try to affirm life, support life, provide things that are required to lead a life for the common people. So in this poem, the poet finds out the contradictions inherent in the situation of waging a war. Whenever we wage a war or declare a war, we will have certain contradictions inherent in situations. Some situations encourage us to wage a war. Certain situations contradict us. So this contradiction is very well presented in the poem. The poem revolves around the relationship between an ordinary civilian and an hesitant soldier. The relationship between the soldier and the civilian is very well presented in this poem. The civilian is an ordinary civilian. The soldier is an hesitant soldier. He is not very firm on killing the civilians, because there is a civilian in him, even though he is a soldier, even though he is trying to kill the civilians or the enemies. So the civilian evaluates the relationship in an array of ways. In multiple ways he evaluates the relationship between the soldier and civilian. The civilian is making fun of the soldier's dilemma to kill a civilian though trying to kill. Even though the soldier is trying to kill the civilians mercilessly, he cannot kill, even though he is trying to kill and hurt the civilians without reason. So the civilian makes fun of the soldier for not acting upon his training, because he is in a dilemma. The war is a strange business and a strange game. So the poet very clearly points out that war is a strange business and it is a strange game. So it is not that easy to kill for the soldiers, but they have to kill the civilians. So this pointlessness of war is very well brought out in this poem. The civilian acts in a matured way by not getting angry with the soldier but reasons with him. You see, in this poem the poet presents these two characters. The civilian acts in a very matured way in the poem. He does not get angry with the soldier for killing him, but he reasons with the soldier. He tries to educate the soldier. He tries to make him understand that war is futile. So the relationship, it is very very cordial between these two. The civilian knows that a soldier is made a victim by the system that we live in. That is why he tries to make him understand the reasons behind our system. The poet, though, through the civilian, the poet uses the civilian as his mouthpiece or spokesperson, and he tries to bring people around to futility of war. His intention is to make the people understand that war is futile. He wants to convey the message to the people that war is pointless, it is futile, it is against life. The verbalized question at the end of the poem. The poet puts a verbalized question at the end of the poem. He addresses the soldier as friend. Are you able to understand the futility of war even now at least? The poem shows that education or understanding or enlightening that is required, not the war. The poet's intention behind writing this poem is to educate the people, make them understand or enlighten the people that war is not required. War is not at all required for the society. What is required is education, understanding, and the enlightening oneself is that is required in society, not the war. So this poem is an anti-war poem. Let us see our understanding of this session. The poem begins with the civilian's tone of confusion, understanding, anger, reasoning. Yes. The poem begins with the civilian's tone of confusion. The civilian says that the soldier knows why he must kill the civilians, what he gains by killing civilians, that he must kill civilians, how he can disobey his higher ups. Let us see the answer. The civilian says that the soldier knows that he must kill the civilians. That is the only thing that he knows. As the civilian says, if his position is changed with that of the soldier, he would fight harder than the soldier, make life better, obey his higher ups, protest against the officers. Let us see the answer. Yes. The speaker or the civilian in the poem says, if his position is changed with that of the soldier, he would have made life better. As it is presented in the poem, war victimizes only civilians, only soldiers, only rulers, all. Yes, the answer is war victimizes all. The last question. The poet's mouthpiece in the poem is the soldier, the civilian, the public apparition. The civilian is the mouthpiece of the poet in the poem. These are the websites that I consulted for preparation of this presentation. Thank you for listening.